Today I'll be talking to you about my street light that I got just the other day. This is a Sylvania B2224 Streetlight. Looks like that. And probably one of the most common streetlights in Melbourne. This one runs these Mercury Vapour high pressure bulbs here, 80 watts. There were other variants. I've got another one around here somewhere that uses 70 watt sodium high pressure bulbs, sodium vapour lamps, which glow their characteristic orange. These glow your typical sort of white broad spectrum light that you see on your street corner. These are very rapidly being replaced by LED based street lights, so I thought that before they all disappear I'd try and get a few to preserve them for my own personal interest and for a historical display maybe eventually. Yeah, these are very common across Melbourne. They've got this distinctive head shell sort of appearance with this rotunda diffuser assembly on top, built by Sylvania in Australia. So I thought we might just do a bit of a take apart. The diffuser just sort of slots out of place like that, and these three little knobs here are all slightly offset, so you can only put it in one way. And over here, and this is where your bulb goes in. This one's a bit worse for wear, having actually been taken off the street. The sodium one that I have was actually basically new in box. And this one's also had its head shell assembly unscrewed because I was testing it just before. So it unscrews using by undoing one of these little jobbies here and one at the end which is missing. It comes apart, and here is our assembly. So just as an example, this one's got a photoelectric cell installed, which I'll show you in a second when I turn it over. That slots into this little, I suspect it's a relay here. Here's the ballast, the 250 volt ballast for the Mercury Vapour lamp. And it's all quite a simple arrangement. There's a couple of caps just in there feeding through, in this very user-friendly terminal block, which I've attached one of these sort of flex cables to. And normally this would go through the outlet here, I assume, and run down the centre of the hollow mounting pole. I'm not sure what I'm going to mount this on yet. Perhaps a sort of bit of a steel pole used for antennas mounted to the top of houses. Might attach it to the sort of fascia barge board thing out the side of the house. Just have my own little street light. Anyway, so I'll put this one back together. Just put this roughly together to get some testing done. Now the photoelectric cell just sort of slots into place. This is it. Looks almost like a fluorescent lamp starter with a central pin added to it and a transparent top, and that just really just fits into here, and it only fits in one way because there's a little nodule that prevents it from being screwed in backwards. So there we go. Here's my 80 watt high pressure Mercury Vapour bulb, just arrived from eBay. E27 Edison screw base. I'll screw that in. We'll put our diffuser on the top. I think that's what it's called. I don't actually know what this thing's called. I just call it a diffuser because it diffuses. And I've got our power point here. Now don't do this at home unless you, well, just don't do it at home. There we go, liability. Anyway, we'll plug it in and see what happens. There we go. So now we have our bulb is igniting. Mercury Vapour bulb is slowly warming up. You see there's this characteristic sort of pinky glow, which will gradually turn to a more neutral white and eventually to the cold white that's quite typical of the street lights that you see on the street. Now something may happen that's quite interesting here. You'll notice that we're operating this bulb in a room with an incandescent light bulb up there. That's, funnily enough, probably the only incandescent light bulb in the house. The rest are all fluoros or I don't think that we have any LEDs around here. I do have a stock of incandescent bulbs in the workshop in there. Now this was powered on before, so I suspect that's why it's sort of come up to proper light temperatures sooner. I don't think that it's quite at full brightness yet. If I remove this for a little bit, you'll see that, no, that would have happened if I'd taken this off or not, but you might have seen that you could see the central envelope inside the outer envelope. The central one was glowing this sort of, I guess, bluish kind of white. The purpose of this outer envelope in the bulb is to sort of reduce the UV that's coming out of that central quartz, I think it's quartz envelope, into the environment. And also I think it's coated in a white phosphor just to adjust the light temperature. I'm just a newbie with this, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But I suspect it's switched off because you may have heard it sounded like there was a relay in there ticking. I assume it's switched off because it's come up to temperature, it's done a warm-up cycle, and then all of a sudden a little timer, I think there's a timer in this PE cell assembly, has just switched the relay off. Like covering this doesn't do anything. Maybe if I leave it covered for a long enough time, there'd be an offset timer that would actually switch it back on. I'm not sure. Presumably if I bypassed it, the light would switch on for longer. Or maybe there's something in the ballast that's preventing it from staying on for a long time. I don't know. It could be anything. But I just thought that I'd show you the second power on of my streetlight, which is I don't know if you can see that, but the lettering's quite faded. This stencil, this says 98, so that was a year it was manufactured, 98, and this says M80. It should say M80, which has the wattage. M for mercury, 88 for 80 watts. The D, I don't know what the D stands for. But yeah, so that's the Sylvania B2224 Streetlight in action, which will eventually maybe be put on the side of the house or put into the museum display. So there you go.